Welcome back to Capital Catch-Up, your insider guide to the halls of Congress. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. It is a packed week here in Washington. We are looking at a legislative calendar in January 2026 that is absolutely bursting at the seams, from contentious land use rights in Minnesota to the future of boxing, believe it or not.
That's right, and we're also seeing the Senate move rapidly on a slew of judicial nominations. But first, Lenny, we have to talk about procedure, because nothing happens here without a rule. The House passed House Resolution 1009. Now, for our listeners who gloss over procedural votes, this one is crucial because it sets the stage for three very different, very big debates.
Exactly. House Resolution 1009 provides for the consideration of legislation regarding pregnancy centers, pregnant students' rights, and a major dispute over federal lands. Let's start with the social policy. We have House Bill 6945, the Supporting Pregnant and Parenting Women and Families Act.
This bill is a direct response to recent administrative changes regarding temporary assistance for needy families, or TANF funds. Essentially, this bill clarifies that states can use these federal funds to support pregnancy centers. It's a heated debate, largely centered on the post-Roe landscape we've been navigating for a few years now.
Right, and paired with that under the same rule is House Bill 6359, focusing on dissemination of rights for pregnant students in higher education. But Victor, the third item in that package is the one stirring up the environmental and industrial sectors, House Joint Resolution 140.
This is a classic example of the Congressional Review Act in action. House Joint Resolution 140 seeks to disapprove, essentially overturn, a rule by the Bureau of Land Management. The BLM issued Public Land Order No. 7917, which withdrew federal lands in Cook, Lake, and St. Louis counties in Minnesota from mineral leasing.
This is the Boundary Waters saga. The administration moved to protect that watershed by banning mining, and this resolution is the House saying, no, we want those copper-nickel mining leases available. It's the age-old battle between conservation and resource extraction, playing out in the procedural weeds of Title V.
Speaking of long-standing battles, let's pivot to veterans. There is a fascinating piece of legislation, House Bill 6005, the Molly R. Loomis Research for Descendants of Toxic Exposed Veterans Act of 2025.
This feels like a historic shift, Victor. For decades, the VA focused on the veteran. Then with the PACT Act, we acknowledged burn pits. Now with House Bill 6005, Congress is looking at the descendants. We know Agent Orange had generational effects. This bill pushes for research into how toxic exposure affects the children and grandchildren of service members.
And that ties directly into the committee meetings we saw listed. The House Committee on Veterans Affairs held hearings on the continuity of care and shortcomings in the national work queue. It's clear that while Congress is expanding who gets care, they are still struggling with the how.
Let's move to something that affects almost everyone's daily life: mail. House Bill 6810, the Mail Theft Act of 2025.
Finally, with the rise of e-commerce, porch piracy and mail theft have skyrocketed. This bill aims to modernize penalties. It sits alongside House Bill 6982, the Preventing Prosecutors from Protecting Predators Act, which targets leniency in the justice system. It's a law and order week for the Judiciary Committee.
Speaking of the judiciary, the Senate executive calendar is heavy. We have a long list of nominations: Nicholas John Ganji for the Southern District of Texas, Andrew Benson for U.S. Attorney in Maine, and several others across Arkansas, Colorado, and North Carolina.
It's worth noting the specific vacancies being filled here. For example, in the Western District of Missouri, we have both a U.S. Attorney nominee, Richard Price, and a District Judge nominee, Megan Blair Benton. Filling these roles is critical to clearing the case backlogs that have plagued the courts since the early 2020s.
Shifting gears to the economy and innovation, there is a lot of activity. We have House Bill 7025, the Evidence-Based Grant-Making Act, and House Bill 6955, the Main Street Capital Access Act.
That Main Street bill pairs well with a Small Business Committee hearing titled Local Ownership, National Brands. They're looking at franchising as a pathway to entrepreneurship. It seems this Congress is trying to find bipartisan ground on small business growth.
And on the innovation front, don't miss Senate Bill 1546, the Patent Eligibility Restoration Act. Intellectual property law is dense, but it dictates whether the next big medical or tech breakthrough happens here or overseas. Also, House Bill 6890, the NOVA Act, and House Bill 6851, the Lowering American Energy Cost Tax, show a dual focus on future tech and current energy prices.
We also have to mention a rather specific but culturally significant set of bills: House Bill 4386, the America the Beautiful Motorcycle Fairness Act, and boxing?
Yes, the Muhammad Ali American Boxing Revival Act, House Bill 4624. There was even a committee hearing titled In Their Corner. This legislation looks to protect fighters from exploitative contracts and creates a more standardized oversight structure. It's the first major update to boxing regulations in years.
I also want to highlight House Bill 618 regarding the Mashpee Wampanoag and Wampanoag Tribe of Gay Head. This authorizes land leases of up to 99 years.
That's a huge economic driver. Standard leases on trust land are often limited to 25 years, which makes it impossible to get bank financing for building homes or businesses. Extending that to 99 years brings tribal land rights into parity with standard commercial development.
Now, looking at the daily records, volume 172, numbers 10 through 14, we see the churn of the floor. But looming over all of this is the money. The Appropriations Committee met regarding House Bill 7148 and House Bill 7147.
The Consolidated Appropriations Act for 2026. That is the big one. We are seeing hearings on lowering healthcare costs, featuring insurance CEOs, which is going to be high drama, but the real power is in House Bill 7148. If that doesn't move, the government shuts down.
And let's not forget the Senate side with Senate Bill 1887, the Vote at Home Act of 2025. Election administration remains a hot-button issue as we look toward the midterms.
So, what should our listeners watch for in the coming days?
Two things. First, watch the vote count on House Joint Resolution 140 regarding the Minnesota lands. It will be a bellwether for how this Congress balances environmental protection with strategic resource independence.
And second, keep an eye on the Consolidated Appropriations Act. With the Department of Homeland Security funding wrapped into House Bill 7147, immigration and border security debates are going to flare up on the floor immediately.
It's going to be a noisy week. Thanks for listening to Capital Catch-Up.
We'll be back next time to break down the votes. Stay engaged.